want to say a few words. I first want to say, Wendy, Kathy, if I do go over a couple of minutes, for every piece of crap bus on every non-existent road that I have ridden for you guys, I can give me the extra 2 minutes. We were on a CRDF trip in some country on some bus where there was no road, and beneath my feet, the bottom of the bus just fell out. Okay, and when I looked up, they said, well, just don't step there. Okay, so that is part of, I always tell people the only way you can help entrepreneurs is by getting dirty. And CRDF helps me get dirty. We get out there in the villages and the places where they are. So I just want to take a minute to give a little bit of perspective to why we all do what we do. Many, many years ago, I saw a sign that said this. It said, you may be successful, but will you matter? Okay, and I looked at that and I thought, wow, because I don't know what success is, but I don't know how to matter. I don't know what that means. And it stuck with me forever, that success, just because you're successful, doesn't mean you matter at all. And I wondered about that. So I went and did sort of what you're supposed to do. I financed my education through my startup. I went out and did my first startup. So I did my first startup when I was 20-something years old. It was acquired by American Express, by a Fortune 500 company. I am not a money person at all, but we made millions of dollars when I was 20-something years old selling a startup. Apparently, that's what you're supposed to do, except I literally sort of woke up the next day and said, so that's it? That's what everybody is sitting in rush hour traffic for 4 hours for? That's what we slave away year in and year out? That's it? Because it just didn't seem like that had to be all that there was. And it was a little bit worse, actually. I kind of felt bad. I was only 20-something, had already made millions of dollars, already achieved whatever the heck success was supposed to be. There were more people that hated me than liked me. Because of that, and I thought, I really do hope this isn't all there is. And I was thinking, so I got success, but I still don't matter. It doesn't feel like it was worth doing. And I was watching TV one day when I was feeling bad, and there was a story about a shelter for abused women that was being closed. All the women were crying because they hadn't paid their rent in 4 months. They were behind on all their bills, and they all had to go back to the streets or to the person that abused them in the first place. And sitting there one day, Jonathan was telling you that story, I thought the same thing everyone else did. They should do something. And then I thought, I changed the channel to sports. The great escape in this country is coming up next, sports. I don't have to see these battered women cry anymore because it's disturbing. And I thought, wait a minute. If everybody watching this story right now says they should do something, who does something? The answer is nobody. So I have this board where I write my inspirations on, and I wrote, there is no they. Okay, it's us. And nobody's going to change the world if we don't do it. We can't, there is no they. And so something occurred to me. That success thing, the money that I didn't care about, was the solution to somebody else's problem. So I got up, called the TV station, wound up paying all the back bills. I did all this anonymously. I paid for the women's shelter. And I woke up the next morning and said, I just found out a way to matter. Okay? The way to matter is to work really hard, achieve results, and then use it to make somebody else's life better. So I decided, thank you, there is no shame in making money. The shame is in not using it to make other people's lives better. And when I realized that, it gave me a purpose. I actually wanted to get up, do another startup, make money again, and go help somebody else, because suddenly I felt like I did something that mattered for the first time. So I want to tell you sort of how it got me to where we all are today. I was in Rio, and I went into the favelas, because, like I said, the only way to solve someone's problem is to actually know it. You can't really get involved in someone's life unless you live a little bit of it. So I went into the favelas, and I was amazed at how many people said, the people there are dirty and dangerous, you don't want to do that. And I thought, are you kidding? That's how we help them? By staying away because they're dirty or they're dangerous? So I went in the favela, and in Brazil, and there were children. And I went to this place where the children were practically locked in a cage. So I asked if they would let me in. And they finally did, and I sat on the floor, and people telling me, you don't want to do that, these children are dirty. Well, that was the best dirt I've ever had on me in my life. They were climbing all over me. And one of the kids curled up in my lap. And the woman, I don't know if these kids were orphans, I couldn't communicate very well, but I could with the kids pretty easily. She curled up in my lap and kind of put her head on my chest. And the woman said, she's scared all the time. And I remember sitting there thinking, how is this fair? How is it fair that at 20-something, I'd already done with my business stuff? I was born in this country where I had an opportunity to do that, right? I was born in a place where I could finance my own education, and this little girl was born here. And I started thinking, every night how do I go to sleep any night when some child is up all night scared to death and there is no they? Who's going to fix problems like that? Who is going to do something? So I started thinking, how do I matter? How do we matter in that little girl's life? There has got to be a way, and something occurred to me, which is that the way out for people like that little girl and everyone around there is hope, right? Hope is the most powerful force in the universe. Hope is the one thing that people that we go visit in war-torn zones, in complete abject poverty, people that have no apparent reason to get up every day, there's this fuel called hope that gives them one more chance every new sunrise that maybe something better will happen. So I started thinking, how do we scale hope, right? My book that's over there, it's called Scale. How do you grow businesses? But I was thinking, how do you scale hope? What do we do with this so that that girl has a chance in life and believes she does, so that we actually can sleep knowing she's not scared every single night of her life? And I started thinking about something, and I wrote that on the board, how do you scale hope? And then I wrote something else. I wrote hope plus action equals change. And at the time, I wasn't sure what that meant, but I started looking at it, and I said, hope is the fuel, but action is the engine. Right? We actually got to drive somewhere and do something that produces change. So when I wrote that down, I circled the word action. And I can tell you what action means to me. It's entrepreneurship, right? Entrepreneurship is the art and science of doing something about a problem, right? That's what entrepreneurs do. They're the people that wake up and say, there is no they, it's me, and I'm going to fix this problem. And as you guys know, one of the things I wrote on the wall at the State Department, when they said, what did you learn about entrepreneurship? I said, you know what, we were wrong. Entrepreneurship's not the point. Nobody wakes up in the morning wishing they were an entrepreneur. They wake up in the morning wishing they had a better life, or a chance, or hope, or something like that. So I wound up thinking that if action is the thing you add to hope to get change, then entrepreneurship, this is what I wrote on the wall. I wrote what I thought, which is entrepreneurship is the shovel you use to dig a path to a brighter future. So what did my goal become? What did our goal become? That we need to go out and equip armies of people across the world with their own shovel and teach them how to use it. I had an entrepreneur once in Africa that kept emailing me, will you help me, will you help me? So I finally got to his country and his village, and I said, I'm here to help you. And he said, I don't really want you to help me. And I said, seriously? I just flew 17 hours, came out here to help you? And he said, Jeff, what I want you to do is teach me how to help myself. He said, I don't want to ever have to call you again. It's degrading to beg for help. He said, teach me how to help myself, and success will be when I never need you again. And that really sort of gave me a mission statement. So our job is to equip those people with shovels, point them in the right direction, and let them dig their own better future. By doing that, that's what entrepreneurship is. That's what the tool of entrepreneurship does to people that have hope. I spent my whole life building companies. I've done 7 startups. We've been very blessed to create startups that worked all over the world. But 3 years ago, I said that, part of my mission was to give back, right? If my ultimate goal is, I'd like someday, and believe me, that video meant a lot to me. If my goal in life is to matter, and sorry, this makes me a little emotional, but if somebody out there says I did something that mattered, then it's all worth it. I decided I wanted to spend time, and I'll just close with this, by giving back. And I think that's the responsibility of entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurship is a gift and a blessing. It's an opportunity. It's a chance to build your own future. So you repay that opportunity by reaching behind you and pulling somebody else forward, right? Josipa, you're the reason we're here. The reason that I get up every morning is to see you succeed, and everybody in this room is here to help you do that. That's what keeps us going every day, is the opportunity to do that. So when I took off this time to go give back, I decided to turn it into I was going to take a year off and just try to spend a year not saying no to anybody that asked me for help. And that was the plan. Plans always seemed like a good idea at the time. But people started calling me from places like Croatia and Tanzania and Algeria. And people in this room, like Jonathan, were calling me, can you go to this country or that? I decided to turn it into a world tour of mentorship. I wanted to go around the world and see what are the best practices, what are the people, who can we help? How do we help that little girl? How do we help Josipa? How do we help the entrepreneurs in every village dig their path to their future. So I've been on the road, and CRDF, I want to thank you for the blessing of that opportunity. I've had some amazing experiences for programs that you guys set up in countries where the help that we gave made a difference. And I know you guys don't always see that. I do, because I stay connected to those entrepreneurs electronically for months and months afterwards, and I see that we've actually changed their lives. That's what we're all doing here. So I just want to say, in the end, thank all of you, everybody in this room tonight, for reminding me that what we do actually does matter. Thank you very much.